What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with Techbud Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for this pre-market analysis. I'm going to be going live for about 45 minutes. So we're going to capture the 30-minute or pre-market hours and about 15 minutes of the market open. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be sharing my screen. There are a couple stocks that I'm going to be following up with due to me seeing potential in last night. Just those that are joining us for the first time. So simply what I'm going to be doing is, there's 30 minutes in the stock market that are called pre-market hours. It's before the market opens and there tends to be movement, right? So usually like after the market closes, there's the aftermarket hours, and then usually you wait for that to close. That's open for about 2 hours, and you perform a technical analysis, meaning that you try to identify potential. That's the whole idea behind this. So the whole idea is that you take, usually what I try to encourage is about 15 to 20 minutes out of your day, every single day right before the day before, the market opens, or you're going to be trading, in a sense for you to identify potential. You set up you, in a sense, analyze the stocks within your watch list or whatever stocks you're looking at, and you do, two simple things. You analyze them, and then you set up a game plan. So we identify potential to see if they're, going to be profitable stocks for the following day. And if they're not, and if you don't see value in them, then you simply don't trade them. It's something that's simple. So it looks like you guys are suggesting a couple stocks within the live chat. So let's go ahead and take a look. There has been, and it has been brought to my attention, there's been a couple stocks that have been like overhyped within our group chat, and that's one of the biggest things that I want you guys to understand, is that like we're not here to overhype any stock, especially within our group chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started just so I can start analyzing stocks. But you guys have to understand that there's a lot of new traders that also join our group, and I'd hate for them to continue seeing one stock, and the stock that I'm talking about is HUSA, regardless if it's a stock that is doing well. You guys have to understand that this group, Techbud Solutions, isn't just to talk about like one specific stock, but you have to understand for the whole, other people that are actually just watching and not responding, if they continue to see one stock, they're easily influenced, and that's one of the biggest things that we try to encourage is to be very diverse with what it is that we're talking about, so no one feels like they have, like, you should never, let me just start off with this: never trade anything that you don't understand, and only trade what you identify or see potential in. Just to keep it that simple. If you're a new trader, if you're an experienced trader, you know that that's true. And it comes down to that principle. You identify potential, you set up a game plan, and then you stick to that plan. So we call it, learn, plan, and execute. So I'm going to be, in a sense, sharing my screen right now. Let's actually just go ahead and go for it. I do want to thank you guys again for taking time out of your morning and joining us for this live stream. So I really do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and go here. These are ones that I'm just going to be following up with. Let's go with PBR. The reason that I saw PBR to have some potential, and I want you guys to see if you guys see what it is that I see. So maybe a little bit further back. So PBR had a previous support at about $8.30. That was the lowest, and that was during pre-market hours, if you could see right here. It went to highs. Really, there was a resistance at $8.60. Yes, it did break above it, but it then started to see a downward trend. Again, old support was right around here, around $8.30. Right now, it's trading at $8.45, so it actually looks like it's trending up now. Where's the first resistance? What's going to be around $8.60. I know this isn't huge margins of profit, but this is just what I saw potential in. So this could definitely be one that I might want to follow up with, simply due to the fact that, okay, well, this support made sense. It bounced at that support. So what I see here is that this old support that it had at 830 was still valid as PBR was coming down. It bounced and starts now trending up. The resistance is at 860 based on previous resistance, and that makes sense to me. It's something like a concept very simple. and it makes sense to me. I understand why it bounced at 830, and I understand why it's most likely going to see a resistance at 860. Does it mean that it's going to go all the way up to 860? Not always 100%. So that's why we have to follow up with it during pre-market hours, and it looks like right now it's trending right around 845, as you get to see the buyers here, and 846 are the sellers. So for those that are joining us for the first time, I'm using the TD Ameritrade platform. I have made a video within my YouTube channel on how to use this and how to download this, just if you are kind of ask that question. But yeah, this is why I added PBR to my primary picks, just because I saw that potential. Now let me go to FTR. FTR was one that we missed out on that we captured live yesterday. They do have an earning report coming soon, so that's definitely not something that we probably want to hold, especially because in the long run, it's been in a consistent downward trend. It looks like it is bouncing, but again, it is a low cap stock. It's $1.20. So you want to make sure that you're in and out within a couple minutes, if not hours, but you definitely don't want to hold overnight. So yesterday we called the support at $1.20. Let's see if I could actually remove this. Never mind. Okay, well, we called the support yesterday at $1.20 and it hit a resistance at 126. I actually didn't think it was going to bounce that quickly, but later throughout the day, it ended up bouncing again. It ended up hitting highs of 125. So we know the support is at 120. We know the resistance is at 125. Now, this is what we talk about identifying potential. We understand that this is the low point. This is the high point. What's the potential for profit? Well, the potential for profit is 4.6%. As you guys can see that in my drawing. If you guys want to know how I use that, you go to drawing tools and it's called trend line. So in doing that, I understand that the support is at 120. If it bounces, the first resistance is going to be at 125. That's my potential for profit. Now, understanding that if you're investing money, there's always a potential for loss. But this is why you set up a plan. So if I want to get in an FTR and I want to get in at 120, I know that the support is at 120, so I'm going to cut my losses if it goes below 120. So I'm going to put my stop loss at 119 just in case, it does end up, dropping below 120. I can cut my losses right away. So from 120 to 119, so scrolling down, that's about less than 1%, so 0.66% with a potential of profit from 120 to 125. So that makes sense to me. I understand the risk. I understand the potential for profit. I have a whole game plan set up on where it's bounced like that before, so it might bounce like that again. But again, understanding one thing, based on the previous 5 days, it's been in a consistent downward trend. So does this mean that it might break below the support and maybe I should wait for it to break the support, set a new support, and then buy in at that point? That could potentially be it. So it really comes down to two things. Do you want to try to get in at 120 to hopefully sell at 125 and cut losses below 120? Or do you want to see if it waits, or do you want to wait if it goes below 120? Try to get in at the bounce at the new support and then sell most likely at 120 because, like we know, old supports become new resistance levels. So it's going to, if you're familiar with that trend, you'll understand what I'm saying. But it comes down to do you want to miss out potentially if it bounces? So that's what comes down to risk management. If you see this to be a potential trade, then go for it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert if it goes below 121, just so I'm alerted because it's not there yet. There's buyers right now at 123 and sellers at 124. So if anything, it's still trending up at this 125 resistance. It's just something that I have to follow up with. Let's see. So it looks like you guys want to hear me talk about, I think, so let me just talk about one last one, ECYT. ECYT. Now we've been following up with this one consistent downward trend after the huge drop that it had from a couple of days ago. It had a huge drop from 250 all the way down to about $2 initially, and then just a consistent downward trend. And now we are hoping for this to start scaling back up, and we're waiting to see if 150 So $1.50, if that's the support and if it's going to start scaling back up today. What I mean by that, it usually builds like V's, but we don't know 100% if it's going to start scaling up. So what's a smart thing that we can do? Well, we can actually wait for the bounce and maybe a break above 160, and that could be a good indicator that, it's going to be showing signs of upward momentum. And by doing something so simple like that, I'm going to I have my alert set when it goes above 159, so I'm alerted beforehand. But that's really just it. There's a bunch of different things that we've talked about within Techbud Solutions that can help you identify stocks or alert you when stocks are trending up. I'm not too sure if you guys saw within the Techbud Solutions, um, YouTube channel. So the channel that you're on right now, pretty much we talked about how to build a 3-candle gap scanner, and it was actually by one of our members, Connor. So you guys can subscribe to him right here. And it pretty much talks about exactly on how to set it up in efforts for any time that there's a stock that sees three green candlesticks that's trending up, that you'll get alerted. So that might be something that you might want to watch because it might be something useful. So it looks like I'm actually being tagged on something. Let's see if I can actually answer that question. So I'm gonna start just talking about stocks that you guys want me to analyze, just because I want you guys to look, guys. Like, let me pause it here. I want you guys to understand, and this is where I kind of like get between two type of people. There's people that want me to always analyze their stocks in effort for me to tell them if I see value in them, and stocks that they're suggestion, and then there's people that understand that the approach that I'm taking, and the reason I don't always like telling people, oh yes, I see value in this, or no, I don't see value in that, because I don't want to be someone that influences a trade. I want to, in a sense, guide you guys in the right direction, but you have to understand, you as the investor have to make sense of whatever it is that you're investing in. If you don't see value in it, if just like what I did with FTR, the reason that I find these live streams to be so useful for people is because they could, in a sense, experience the whole thought process that goes inside my head every time that I try to go into a stock. I don't try to jump into hype. If there's a stock that's gapping up like DCTH, it's up from 40 cents to or 4 cents to 6 cents. I don't trade stocks that are less than 50 cents, and it's not in my comfort area. So am I going to trade it because it's gapped up so much and because people are suggesting it? Well, based on the history of time that I've traded stocks less than even 10 cents, it has not been successful, especially if I don't truly understand like the support, the resistance, where I can stop loss out. If I can't manage my risk, that doesn't make sense to me. Am I going to invest even $1 into a company that I don't understand? Even with $1, the principle is you should not invest in something that you don't understand. And I hope you guys understand that. So that's why sometimes I don't feel like I should always tell you guys like what it is that I think about the stocks that you guys want, because I'm analyzing stocks that I see potential in, and that's 100% for me. So I'm almost like I do this analysis every single day during pre-market hours. Now I'm just filming it so you guys can see what I'm doing. But now telling you guys based on some stocks that you guys are talking about, like I don't mind talking about some popular stocks that we're talking about within the group chat. But please don't let me nor anyone else influence whatever it is that you're going to be investing in. I hope you guys understand that, because it's so important for an individual to be able to identify the potential, set up a whole game plan from start to finish, because in the long run, that's what's going to lead to your success. Yes, it may be difficult in the morning, or not in the morning, in the beginning, but I can tell you, like in the long run, this is definitely going to be a technique on identifying potential and setting up a game plan, and where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to catch your losses. That whole thought process, that's going to be extremely useful in the long run. Not me telling you, oh, this is what I think about your stock and stuff like that. So I hope you guys understand that. And I'm so sorry that if it's not what it is that you guys want to see, I apologize. It's just I can't find myself to tell people, and try to influence them on a specific stock that, they don't even completely understand. I got tagged within the group chat, so I'm trying to take a look at it right now. There's just way too many messages. I'm sorry. My goodness. I'm so sorry. There was someone that tagged me, and oh, right there. It was by Steve Wicks, and he says, "Watch TDW." Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. TDW. I like how someone asked about what is it, DCTH within the group chat, and there was actually someone that was like, "Well, Ricky doesn't trade stocks less than $1." So you guys understand, like, what it is that I trade and what I don't, and I talk about it all the time. So again, this is another stock that's less than $1, but it's above 50 cents. So it's not as sketchy as I usually. I mean, it's still less than $1, so I don't always like to trade these. But it looks like it bounced. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like 75 cents was a pretty solid support. It looks like it held above 75 cents. And why I'm saying 75 cents is, if you guys see the support that it has right here, right? It bounces, has an upward trend, comes back down, bounces at this, and then bounces at this, but it has a resistance at 80 cents. So 80 cents, when it breaks above 80 cents, that might be a good indicator that it's showing signs of upward momentum. But other than that, um, I mean, I just feel like trying to get in right now, right at the resistance, isn't the smartest thing. It looks like the RSI indicator. What the heck? Why is that so low? It looks like the last time that the RSI indicator was this low, it did end up trending up. But I don't know anything about TDW. This RSI indicator is showing that it's more on the oversold side, yet it's trending up. And when it's overbought, just like it peaked out here, when it's above 70 RSI, then that indicates a good sell point. It was way above EMA, so usually you want to sell if these two indicators are telling you that it's above EMA. And above the 70 RSI, that's a good indicator to possibly get out or follow with the trailing stop loss. So I'm just going to continue going forward. So I mean, that might be a good stock. Again, I don't 100% know, but yeah, let's go ahead and there's a lot of recommendations for AMD. This is actually one that I believe I had on my oh no, I had JNUG and JDST. The reason AMD has become so popular within our group chat is because it's been trending up so consistently. And what I mean by that is this is one that we had in our Sunday Stock Talk. So Sunday Stock Talk is something that we have every Sunday. We just talk about last week's trading and then this upcoming week. And we caught it, I believe, I'm not mistaken. It was already somewhat bouncing, and it just had it just had huge days. And right now during pre-market hours, this is what I want you guys to see. There's a previous resistance at $13, and that's why when I was analyzing this one yesterday, I was like, I mean, that's good, but how much margin of profit does it have? The reason I'm saying it had a resistance at $13, this was the day that it was of market open, right? It came back down, and then yesterday had, it peaked out at about 1290 and then had another pullback right as the market opened. And then during aftermarket hours, right at 13, and it just shows you how strong that resistance was, and then dropped right back down. Then after today, during pre-market hours, so this half of the gray line broke right through that $13, and now there's a resistance at about 1320. So that's another thing. Realistically, is AMD always going to continue seeing an upward trend? Well, no, guys. Look, this happened a couple days ago, and it had a resistance at 1313, and then had a huge drop. Yes, it happened within one full day, but understand that every stock is not going to continue to rise. Does it mean that AMD can't continue to rise? Well, of course it can still continue to rise. It came from a high last time of about 1375, even highs of 15. But realistically, guys, what makes sense to you? If you guys are AMD, a lot of people have been holding and been locking huge amounts of profit. But you have to understand, consistency is key, and locking in profits is what will lead to your success. There's nothing wrong with following with a trailing stop loss, or canceling your stop loss and then adding another one as it continues to rise. But just know about the importance of locking in profits and not being greedy. You have to understand that all these different indicators are showing that it's oversold and that's most likely gonna, peak out and then see a pullback. So that's what I want you guys to be able to identify. I don't think the potential for profit is there because the next resistance is about like at $14, and right now it's trending at about like 13.13. That's 6%, so that's still pretty big actually. But I think the potential for loss is just so much more than the potential for potential profit for it to continue to scale up. But again, you guys trade whatever it is that you guys see value in, and if AMD, if it's been doing well for you and you believe that it makes sense to you and the risk is there for you, then you trade whatever it is that you think, and that's really just it. Then JDST. JDST has been killing it. Is now at 69 cents. I'm not too sure if you guys tuned in for our live video yesterday. I talked about the resistance yesterday. If it breaks above $65, that's most likely going to be an indicator that it's going to be bouncing, since JDST was seeing consistent signs of downward momentum. Since it bounced here at 62, it kept struggling to break above 65, bounce here again, struggled to hold above 65, and then bounce back. And then yesterday, it just killed it, broke above 65 and hit highs of 68, had a pullback, bounced again at around 64, and then right now it's trending at that 70 resistance. So it's just been great. JDST was also another stock that we talked about in our Sunday stock talk, and I want you guys to understand that in our Sunday stock talk, what it came down to was, you guys might be asking, well, how did I know that all these stocks like AMD, NAK, which was a huge market mover this week, and JDST and JNUG and all these stocks, how did I know that they were going to trend up? I didn't. I'm not actually the one that suggested these stocks. This is why this group of Techbud Solutions is so powerful, because it was I put a poll within the Techbud Solutions Facebook platform, and all I did, I asked, what stocks do you guys want me to analyze for this upcoming week for our Sunday stock talk? You guys, the top one I think was like AMD or CYTR. It was then AMD, it was NAK, and then it was I think JNUG, and then one other stock like LINU. Other than that, like, all I did was I asked you guys what you guys would like me to analyze, and you, the people, you, the members, the entrepreneurs, the investors, saw the potential and voted for your top stock. And that's the greatest thing. I didn't do anything. Again, I'm just here to talk and to talk about my whole thought process and kind of spark that interest for you guys. But you guys are the doers. You guys are the ones that are making things happen, and that's so amazing. That's why this group is so powerful, because when you get thousands of people to share their best practices, that what has led to their success, and show their mistakes and effort for those that are learning to not repeat those mistakes, that's what creates a supportive and welcoming environment, because that is what we are. So I hope you guys understand that, and you guys probably are just like, oh, whatever, let me go ahead and get ready for the market open. I'm going to be analyzing just 2 more stocks that I'm going to most likely want to follow up with, and then we'll go from there. I want to see how where is it at? 156. It's actually trending up. What the heck? No, 154. Okay, well, I have my alert set on that one, NAK. Is there another one that I had in mind? JDST. So JNUG and JDST, obviously the inverse ETFs of one another. When does the Sunday stock talk begin? That's on Sunday at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. So actually, PLUG, you guys are talking about that. That was actually one that I was going to follow up with. My goodness. Okay, so this is why I'm probably not going to trade PLUG. It's because it's hitting a resistance at $2.20. Let me get a little bit further back. What the heck? Come on. Yeah, it's just, I think based on where it stands within the past 10 days, let's say even 20 days. So that's funny. If you guys see that, can we actually go a little bit further back? No. So it looks like it used to, based on this area right here, it had a previous resistance almost exactly, if you guys see at this area, this resistance at about $2.20, just like it's experiencing now. So again, old resistance levels do tend to repeat themselves. So it tends to be more on the bought side than oversold. So it's more likely not the best buy right now. And that's just an indicator that I use. Does it mean that it won't actually increase? Well, no, it could still potentially still increase since it's done it before. It's been able to go up to like $2.50, $3.23. But are you gonna really go after what like has almost rarely happened to compared to what has happened before? So it just comes down to you and whatever it is that you guys see value in. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna go back to 5-minute candlestick. So it looks like there's 1 minute and 44 seconds left. Yeah. And I'm using pretty much volume to be an indicator. I like to focus on stocks that see healthy amounts of volume. So AMD, Snapchat. Ooh, this is the one that, dude, guys, I messed up in my trade last time. I had the support that was at like 1880. It ended up bouncing down, and I should have just bought in again at the bounce. But yesterday I was just having a really bad day. It wasn't necessarily just with trading. There was a lot of things that just weren't going according to plan. And if you guys aren't in 100% the mindset of trading, then you have to understand that you're investing money, you're risking money, and it probably isn't the best idea to trade when you're not, 100%, ready to make things happen. So again, the old support was at 18, and right now it has a current support at around $18.50. I believe in the long run for Snapchat, again, not a penny stock, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. This is, again, just what I see value in. In the long run, it does have a lot of margin for profit. It is pretty much at a low point compared to currently where it stands. Does that mean that it can't continue to drop? Well, of course it can. It definitely can continue to drop and break even lower points. But I just think overall where it stands here at $18.50, it is one of the lowest points. There's only been one lower point at $17.07 in its history. Again, it hasn't been open for like years and years, but based on its history, it usually bounces. So what can we wait for? We can wait for that solid bounce. So I'm going to go back to a 2-day analysis, and if it bounces and starts to show signs of upward momentum, then this is one that I'd be personally interested in possibly swing trading. So let's go ahead and go. Snapchat went marked below. Yep, Snapchat is dropping. Let's see if we can actually catch it at the bounce. So it looks like it's seen somewhat of a pullback. JDST, yeah, killing it. AMD went nasty. Yep. All my alerts are triggering because we're waiting for that. 10-minute candlesticks, no thank you. We're going to go to 1 minute. And pre-market hours, it had a support at $18.32, and it looks like it's most likely, nope, broke right below that. I was going to say bounce at 18. I'm going to have my order ready because last time I missed out. I'm going to have my order ready for Snapchat. All right. And I'm going to try to get it at the bounce. Again, not at the lowest point, but when it starts showing signs of upward momentum. Okay, 1820 looks like it might be the bounce. I have a limit order. Let's do 18. I think honestly 1825, so we might want to wait for 2 green candlesticks. Whoa. All right, well, that's a huge green candlestick. I'm going to wait for a little pullback. There's going to be a resistance most likely at 830. Pullback most likely here at, we'll even see a pullback. Let's see. It's not really breaking up, seeing somewhat of a pullback, so I'm going to go ahead and change my, nope, what the heck? All right. I'm just going to put it at 1830. Realistically, it looks like it's bouncing, so that's what we want to see. All right, I just bought some at $18.30. This is for Snapchat, and I'm gonna, in the long run, 18.20 is the support. So it looks like, let's see, there's a current resistance at like 18.34. I'm just setting some alerts right now. I'm gonna take a little step back and see the overall lows are $18.18. So I'm gonna put my alert if it goes below that. With the potential for profit as it played out yesterday with the resistance at about 1940, but realistically I'm going to put it at 1920 as that would be a more ideal sell point. So from this low point of 1820 to 1920, that's about 5% potential. So that risk is worth it for me for a potential stop loss at 1818. And I'm going to continue to average up as it continues to rise, and that's just something that I'll follow up on. But I think I'm pretty set. I have I think a pretty good plan when it comes to trading Snapchat, and that's just me. That's what I see potential in, and it's as simple as that. So, FTR, dang it, it's at resistance. Told you guys. You see, like it's it's great to see these, like, how trends do really repeat themselves. And it's, again, I'm more of a technical trader. There's a lot of people that are very good momentum traders. There's a lot of traders that are really good swing traders and stuff like that. I know 100% that I'm not the best technical trader, and I 100% understand that. But I'm pretty good at identifying support and resistance and at cutting my losses quick. And that's just something that I've been doing very often. People don't always support it because they don't understand. Well, I'm going to stop loss all the time. Well, usually I trade with an account that I don't have to worry about my PTT restrictions. This $1,000 challenge has definitely been an obstacle for me, but it's definitely something that I'm getting accustomed to continue to lock in just consistent small profits when it comes to that. But looks like it broke the resistance at 1321. And where is it most likely going to peak out at, guys? Well, the RSI indicator is actually not showing that it's above 70 RSI just yet, but it looks like there's a resistance at maybe 1330. It's bouncing at 1820. 1821. So 1820 is definitely the place where it bounced at. But now it's approaching that same place, but I'm at a much slower pace. So this is kind of showing signs that it's most likely going to break below it. Because when it somewhat plateaus at a certain support, sometimes if the volume is right, it can definitely break below that support. So put my alert. All right, so I'll let this one play out. See that there's a couple sellers out 821, so 1821. So we'll just have to follow up with that. ECYT. It's holding above 150, which is a good sign. This is all I really want ECYT to do. And if it could break above 160 and the volume is right, then this can definitely be a good one to watch. But right now, just not a lot of volume, as you guys can see, just dashes. It's been very slow movement. So I really need the volume to pick up on this one, but I need it to hold above 160. So I'll have to follow up with this one. So JNEG being the inverse ETF, so it looks like maybe JDST is now hit a resistance at 670. Wow, that's so funny. Perfectly at 70, so you guys can see it peaked out at 70. Saw a pullback, and now based on the previous, like we know, again, old resistance levels become new support levels, and it bounced right at that $68 mark. And guys, like this is stuff we talk about all the time. bounce, you wait for the pullback right as the market opens, you wait for the bounce, and when it starts indicating signs of upward momentum, and the potential from 68, if it goes back to the $70 resistance, is about 2.97%. It's nearly 3%. So that's more than enough for this $1,000 challenge. And this definitely seems to be one that's playing out a little bit better than the position that I jumped into today. Um, but my position is still holding above the support, so that's good. There's most likely going to be a slight resistance at 69. So we might see a couple pullbacks, but realistically, JDST has been doing pretty well the past 3 days and showing signs of upward momentum. I'm just going to go down the list of these high volume stocks. So if you guys don't know how to set this up, and I actually learned this from Connor on how he set up his whole TD Ameritrade, so I do want to thank him for that. When you attach this and you attach this as like one of these, like you link it to like one red, right? And then you link your watch list to one red. Every time that you click on, the stock, all you have to do is click on it. You don't have to search for it anymore, which makes it very quick. Wow, AMD saw a huge pullback all the way back down to almost the 1315 support. But it makes it very easy to just go down the list and start seeing, just just performing like technical analysis like pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna go very quickly. Snapchat, oh, broke support. Broke last time support, so the previous support was at 1818. It's at 1815 now. Seeing a pullback. Seeing a pullback. See, bouncing, bounce at 1815, and that's something that does happen. It doesn't always bounce at the exact, cent that it did before, especially when it's more of a higher cap stock. But I think we should be okay. Again, I have my stop loss set at $18, so I think I have a pretty solid plan. FTR is at 123. VRX, how does that stand right now? It's more at a low point VRX, so let's see that. Yesterday had a really green day, so I think today it's most likely seeing some pullbacks. Yeah, so it's kind of stagnant and most likely going to see a downward trend. So I'm going to simply set, I have my alert already if it breaks below this support. I'm going to have my alert if it goes back to the previous support that I had. Guys, PBR is doing what we expected. It is still bouncing, so it bounced at this 1830. So we planned that out well. I just didn't get in at the price point that I wanted to, and I should have, in a sense, gotten in yesterday. But I don't like holding really any stocks overnight. I mean, this isn't necessarily a penny stock. It's a petroleum company. If anything, if I remember reading this one, it's one from Brazil. It's a multi-million-dollar company. Based on the previous support at 1825, that's what helped me identify this current support at 1830, and that's why I found this one to be so attractive, especially because it had the same support a couple days ago that it bounced at, and it's previous trends that helped me identify these trends. So it looks like there's still resistance at $8.50, overall resistance at 860, with some type of squeezes sometimes to highs of 860, almost 870, but realistically 860. But unless it sees some sort of pullbacks, which I have the alerts right here, I most likely won't be trading PBR. Snapchat, there you go. It's bouncing. All right. No, right when I said that, it's like, all right, just because you said that. I wonder if any of you guys ever feel that way. I know I have. Definitely, like, when I decide to jump into a stock, like, oh no, of course, when I jump in at, $18.30, you decide to drop down. It's definitely something that has happened to me. But again, if you're confident about your trade and you understand it, like how I understood my risk with Snapchat, and I understood an area of opportunity that I messed up on yesterday was that I tried to get in too early at a certain support, and I stop lost out right away. I minimized my loss, so it didn't really matter too much, but it could have been avoidable, and that was an area of opportunity for me. So again, learn from your mistakes and share your best practices and share everything, right? Share the mistake that you made and kind of go from there. So Snapchat went below 1818. It's just my TD Ameritrade app that is letting me know. So it looks like there's a support at $1.70, resistance at $1.77. Let's see how solid that support is. Which actually looks like it's trending up. If you guys kind of see what it is that I'm talking about, like the new lows that it makes aren't as low as the lows that it had before. It looks like it's, except for today. My goodness, it's like way over here. Yeah, might not be trending up anymore. Might actually be trending down. I mean, 170 seems to be a pretty solid support, but it's just too close to it. And then 175 seems to be a pretty solid resistance, and it's not really that much potential for profit. So I'm going to continue moving on. It's not really worth it for me. Rig, this could be one that could potentially bounce at $8.40 if you guys see what it is that I'm seeing. This is why I identify it to be signs of upward momentum when this EMA line starts to bounce itself. It bounced during pre-market hours, and it's indicating a solid bounce. So does that mean I should try to get in right now? Well, no. Again, you want to put your money into something that's appreciating in value. So if it breaks above the EMA line, then that could definitely be something that, might indicate or show signs that it's going up. So GoPro just got alerted that that's going up. PLUG. Remember, guys, we talked about PLUG with its resistance at $2.19, and has now seen a pullback. So just like expected, JDST at support at 68 cents. So we'll have to follow up with that one. But other than that, guys, resistance at $8.65. So it's hitting its resistance. So that would have been more of a good sell point because GoPro hasn't been doing very well, let's be honest. One that I always regret trading, and this is one that is just I've been very familiar with, LPCN. I know those that joined Techbud Solutions like a really long time ago. Just this one always bounces at $3.30. I swear it's gone lower before, but just at $3.30, and it's 333 almost. That if I can draw a line at this, let's see, even just $3.30. I can't even see if that's a straight line or not right there. All right, well, if you guys can see, it just bounces so often at this $3.30 mark that last time it bounced here, I regret not going in. And the reason why is because the potential for profit within a couple of days was like plus 10%. And that's the thing. It's just something, a stock that I've become very familiar with. And I should just understand that if I'm familiar with the stock, again, don't let my emotions come into play. But if I understand it and I understand the risk, right, like I can stop loss out. 20 cents if I try to get in at $3.30 at the bounce. But it's just, I didn't pull the trigger on that one. It's one that I regret. And I guess I'm just talking to you guys about it. But other than that, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us for today's pre-market movers. And I hope you guys learned something. If you guys did, and again, this is not at all for the whole YouTube thing. You don't even have to comment on my YouTube channel. I really don't care about that. I just want to make sure that you guys are learning stuff within my live streams. If you guys did, you guys could either post it on the Facebook platform, just share it with one another, and share your best practices and share your mistakes. That's all I could really ask for, because those that are coming on to join Techbud Solutions, we want to make sure that they're exposed to some mistakes that we've made that can help them avoid losing money, because that's what we're here for. But also share your best practices so they can learn from what you've done well, and it's up to them to take that exposure and try to make sense of it. If it doesn't make sense to them, then they don't have to use it, and you don't have to get offended by that. But if they are willing to use it, then that could be something that could be very useful. So I hope you guys understand that, and I hope you guys see value in that. If you guys aren't a part of Techbud Solutions, the link is provided for you down in the description. Again, it is a 100% free networking group. You simply just have to have a Facebook account, and then you ask to join our Techbud Solutions Facebook group, and that's all it is. And then on the top pin post, we have a selected amount of group chats, again, all through GroupMe, that are 100% for free, that you guys can utilize just to network with one another. The thing that we definitely do best is we provide a supportive community and environment for both new and experienced traders. And I think it's definitely something that I've been able to personally see really just spark that interest in people's lives, because there has never been a better time to start trading because of this. Like, with TD Ameritrade, there's that simulation trading, so no real monetary risk. And then there's this free platform that you can utilize as an exposure and just for everything to utilize to learn how to trade. And you have, the two components that you need, learning how to trade, and then, how you can actually trade. One of the biggest things that I want to focus on is I watched one of my buddy's videos, and he's one that we came in contact with specifically because of YouTube, and he's a YouTuber as well. And he talked about like being almost a doer. He didn't really use this specific context, but he talked about, I know a lot of you guys dedicate a lot of time, and I can't thank you guys enough for dedicating so much time to my videos. That's one thing, right? Now, in today's video that I'm going to be posting at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, it's going to be elaborating on the giveaway that I'm going to be doing. So I want you guys to watch it, but I also want you guys to understand that you guys are learning so much within my videos and within our group and stuff like that, and within so many other platforms and so many other YouTubers. You have to understand that you have to implement that and get your feet wet. That, like, he gave a perfect just example of, you can try to learn to swim as much as you want, but until you actually go and actively do it, you're not going to know if you can actually do it. And what I mean by that is, I'm not here to tell you to risk money when you don't even know how to invest, but there's a point that you have to, just take the leap when it comes to, there's steps that you can take. The simulation trading is a platform where you don't have to put not 1 cent, but you get to trade real-time stocks, just like all of us, but it's just like with fake money. So why not implement what it is that you're using or learning into what you should be trading, and kind of see what you do good, do what you bad, see what you do bad, and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that you guys don't just get caught in the transition of just like always watching videos and trying to learn the most and scared to actually go and do it, when there's actually resources out there that you can simply download and set up an account for. It doesn't cost you a dime. You don't have to fund it, and you can get started and actually actively trade with us, but with fake money. And it doesn't matter. It's real exposure, and that's what we're here for. I don't care if you're making $200 with fake money or $200 with real money when you're just starting out. Again, this is like a long-term thing, and I want you guys to understand that. But it comes down to being a doer, and it's learning, it's planning, and executing. You guys have to understand the importance of executing. You're not going to be successful if all you do is learn and you don't execute. So hope you guys understand. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and like always, let's make sure that we end the week on a green note. Take care, guys.